Hello, I'm Mary. A lot of you know me already. Today we're doing lesson number 5 in the Eat More Plants program. And as you know, with each lesson we try to answer an important question. So our first lesson was, what is climate change? The most important question, that's why we're doing all this and thinking about it. The next question is, what are greenhouse gases? We answered that. The next question is, what's the rush? Why do we need to think about this today? And then last time we answered the question, which is, what can I do about it that has the most impact? And what we found out is eating a plant-rich diet is something I can do today that has a lot of impact. So our question, once we found that out, is why does eating a plant-rich diet help climate change? And really, the short answer is producing plants and eating plants causes fewer greenhouse gas emissions than eating and raising animal products. So why is this the case? 3 major reasons, 1, 2, 3. And we're only going to address the first one today, but really the 3 reasons are energy transfer and food chains, how energy transfers and goes up the food, how the energy gets transferred when it goes up the food chain, and the resources involved in that. Number 2 is animals, their waste, their burps, their belches. Those cause the really powerful greenhouse gases that we learned about, methane and nitrous oxide, that have 30 to 300 times more warming potential than carbon dioxide. And then the third thing is deforestation. And plant-based agriculture takes a lot less land than animal-based agriculture. And because we're doing so much animal-based agriculture, we are cutting down forests, especially tropical forests, to raise those animals. So that's the third thing. But today we're really going to focus on food chain energy transfer. So I have my handy dandy dry erase board to help us get our head around that. So energy available decreases as you move up the food chain. So how does that work? Let's take a look at this illustration I found. So you can see there are 1,000 kcal, that's food energy, calories are food energy in these plants. But when you move up, when the animal eats the plants, it only retains 10%. 90% of the food calories are lost. And that is due to heat loss through respiration and activity. So when you go from 10,000 kcals that the plants have, food energy, you go up to the rabbit. Now the rabbit, only 10% of those food calories is in the rabbit. So it has 1,000 food calories now. So due to heat loss and respiration, when the snake eats the rabbit, it gets its 1,000 calories. But now, if you want to eat the snake only has 100 calories, food calories available, again due to the heat loss when you go up the food chain. So basically, as you go up the chain, there's less energy available. And to go up the chain, there's resources involved in going up the chain. There's resources in planting and growing plants to feed, say, a cow. And there's resources that go into grazing a cow, raising a cow, turning that cow into hamburger and then transferring it to the store. And there's energy that goes into just raising a cow and milking it. Anyway, so as you go up the food chain, there are fewer calories. You lose 90% every step up. And as you go up, there's more and more resources that are getting used to go up that food chain. And those resources cause greenhouse gases. So more resources, transportation, land, refrigeration, packaging, etc., that cause greenhouse gases are required as you move up the food chain. So in conclusion, you have to consume more resources that cause greenhouse gases to get the energy you need from foods that are higher on the food chain. So to get our head around this a little bit more, our art part of the lesson today is a food chain energy transfer mobile. And so we can understand it in a visual way. Let's take a different visual way other than like an illustration. And let's take a look at that. And this is what we are making today. This is our Food Chain Energy Transfer Mobile. And we're using some painted driftwood, we're using some construction paper, and some string. But let's take a look, let's zoom in and see what we have here. What we have are 3 different diets. And the first diet is plants only. And you can see we have a sun where we get the energy, the plants, and then what our earth shows with our little person on it is how many pounds of CO2 per day per person is consumed or is emitted when you eat a plant-only diet. 6.4 pounds of CO2 is emitted per person per day if you're only eating plants. Our next string is a diet that involves eating plants and eating animal products. Not the animals themselves, but you see we move up the food chain. We start with the sun, and then we have our plants, and then the next thing on that plant feeds the chicken, and the chicken lays the egg, and this globe has the little guy, and the guy or girl who eats this type of diet emits 8.4 pounds of CO2 or greenhouse gases per person per day. And if I flip this around, I'm going to show you. You can see the other side is a cow and cheese as you a cow and cheese as you're moving up the food chain. So our last string is a diet where whoever it is eats everything. And you can see we've got the sun, we've got a plant, and then here what we have is, wind's getting a little windy. Let's take a look at this. What we have is a cow, and this person eats beef or a hamburger from the cow, and then they also eat milk from cows or any dairy products. And then if we flip the side, this diet, they raise, chickens are fed plants. Chickens are raised to actually have roasted chicken or to have raised chickens just to have the eggs. And this diet, we go to our planet here, spinning around, it's a little windy, this type of diet causes 12.3 pounds of greenhouse gas emissions per person. So you can see again, 6.4 pounds of carbon emissions per person per day for that plant-based diet. And when you go back over to the Eat Everything diet, 12.3 pounds of carbon emissions per person per day. So that Eat Everything diet is almost double of the plant-based diet. That adds up 3 times a day, every day, day after day. And you can see here that as you go from all plant to just plant and animal products to both, I made the plant symbol, which is a leaf, get larger with each one to represent how much more greenhouse gases are emitted as you move up the food chain. So what do we need to make our energy transfer food chain mobile? You need driftwood that's about, I don't know, 6 to 9 inches long. Doesn't have to be exactly that, but enough to fit all 3 diets. This is a example of driftwood. You need construction paper. You need watercolors if you want to paint your driftwood. You need some string for tying all your pieces, and it could be a ribbon, it can be any kind of string that you have, or any kind of ribbon that you have. You need paintbrush. You need a variety of colors of construction paper, definitely yellow for the sun, definitely blue for the earth, definitely green for the plants, but I used orange and purple, but you could use other colors for the rectangles if you wanted, and a ruler would be helpful also. So those are the things you need to do this lesson. All right, step one is painting your driftwood. So I collected it at the beach and let it dry a little bit in my backyard before I started working on it. And then I used my watercolors. And you can do, you noticed on the one, my mobile, I did rainbow stripes, but you could do some blending. Like this one, I did kind of sunset colors, pinks and oranges and reds. And this one, I did, instead of large rainbow stripes, I did smaller stripes, all going from yellow, green to blue, because I thought those colors were beautiful together. But you can do whatever you want. You could paint it all one color, you could paint dots, just have fun and make it colorful. All right, so that's your driftwood for your base. And then your next step is the shapes that you're gonna do. You need to get out your construction paper and cut the shapes. So I have some specifics for you on how to do that. So the first thing is circles. You're gonna need 9 circles total for your 3 suns. Each sun has 3 circles, and I'll show you how that works. So what I would start out with is I would cut 9 squares that are 3 inches across and 3 inches long. And I'll tell you a shortcut to do that. What you do is you get your piece of paper, this isn't, and you fold it 3 inches. So this is 3 inches, and then this is 3 inches. So now I've got 3 layers, and then I measure the 3 inches down here, and I fold that, and I do another 3 inches, and I fold that. So now what I have is, when I open it up, I have 9 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 3x3 inch squares. And that's kind of a shortcut. So once you have those squares, then you can see with a pencil, draw your circle and have your circle go to the edge, the center of each side, and then you have a circle. And then I would put the one that you drew the circle on top of all the others and cut them all out. Now I don't know if you can get through all 9, so maybe do 3 at a time. And then you've got your circles, your 9 circles, yellow circles for the sun. So your next step when you're doing the sun is, here's my 3 circles, and you fold them all in half. And you could do, actually you could layer them up, you want to be speedy, all 3 of them together, and fold them all in half together, like this. Now your next step is, I don't know if I mentioned scissors, but you do, obviously you need scissors to cut these out. And then what you do is, you cut little triangles on the edge out. So you end up having a sun with rays like this. So you just cut little triangles all along that outer edge. And it's kind of thick with 3, but you could do it, or you could open it up and do it one at a time. Or you could choose not to have rays and just have a smooth surface on the outside of your sun. It's up to you. So now I've got 3 folded circles. So what you do next is you glue 2 of the half circles together. Okay, so you put glue just on this half side. And do I have glue here? I do. Just a minute. Get out my glue. And that's how you get kind of a 3D, oops, here it is. You get a 3D sun. So I'm putting my glue, and I don't know if I said glue in the list of things we need, so you do need glue. So I'm putting my glue here, only on half, and then I'm taking the other half, and I'm putting them together. You can see like this. So where the center, have the 2 centers meet up. Okay, and you're gonna do that again, and you're only putting glue on 1 half. Get it near the edge. Okay, there's my glue. And I take my other half and I put 2 halves together. So this is what's hanging on the mobile. You can see. But I don't glue these yet because I'll need to put the string in the center and then glue them. So do 3 of these, but don't glue it a 3rd time because you need to be able to put the string in and then glue it. So those are my 3 suns. And then you do the same thing with the earths. The earth is a little smaller, so you have 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch circles. And you cut out 9 of those also. And once you have them all cut out, just like we did with the sun, you take 3 of them, fold them in half. You don't cut the rays, the little triangles on the outside. And then you do it exactly like you did this. You glue 2 halves together on the earth, and you leave one open to glue it. But actually, you know what? I got ahead of myself. Before you glue your circles to make your earth together, you have to do a little drawing on your earth. So you take your colored pencil, a black colored pencil, and the first thing you draw is kind of an upside down pear. This is like the planet. And then you draw kind of a fish coming in that's gonna eat the stick figure. He's got a mouth, and then the sides just go out. And then you do your stick figure guy there, and you fill all these in, this pear in, and you fill this fish that's about to gobble the guy, all in with your green color pencil. And you do that on all 3 circles. So you're gonna do that 9 times, because each planet takes 3 circles, and there's 3 different diets, so that's 9. And then on all 3 of them, all 9 of them, you put the pounds of carbon emissions. But the first 3, you put the pounds of carbon emissions for the all plant diet. The next 3, you put the carbon emissions for the plant and animal products diet. And then the last 3, you put the carbon emissions for a diet that eats everything. And we reviewed those when we reviewed those numbers when we were looking at the mobile a few minutes ago. All right, so you have to draw your little map there before you start folding them in half and gluing them. So that's your sun and your earth. Next is your plant. And you also want a 3D kind of looking plant. So you do the same thing. And I made, as you went across the different diets, I made the plant size different. So the first plant size in the first diet, which is plants only, to represent not that much energy resources are used for that diet, it is a 1 inch by 1 by 2 inch square that you make your leaf. The middle one diet, that is plants and animal products only, it takes a little more resources, so I made my plant a little bit bigger. That is 2 inches by 3 inches. And then my last plant I made 4 inches by 2 inches. And so you want to have 3 of each of those sizes, 3 of this one, 3 of the medium one, and 3 of the large one. So here I've got my 3 of the medium one, and I would put them all together, and then I would draw first my leaf shape. You know, a leaf shape. And I would have the top of the leaf hit the top and the bottom of the leaf hit here. So I would make my leaf shape, and then I would cut on those lines, and then I would have my 3 leaves. And you put it together just like you did the sun. You fold each piece in half, all 3 of them in half, and then you glue a half to a half, a half to a half, and you leave the 3rd flap. You don't close it completely, you leave that open so you can put on the string. All right, that's plants. Next, we have the rectangles, and you have 2 small rectangles in the middle diet that is animal products only. And the first one is orange, and it needs to be 3 inches by 1.5 inch, and you need 2 of those. Remember, it has 2 sides. And then the next one in a different color, I used purple, is again 3 inches by 1.5 inches, and you need 2 because it has chicken on one side and beef on the other. And then your last one, you need 2 of these orange triangles, 3 inches across, 4.5 inches tall, 2 of these, because there's 2 sides, to show your cow, your hamburger, or a product that's not actually eating the animal, like milk or cheese. And then the second one is the chicken one. All right, I went through a lot of measurements, a lot of different shapes, a lot of numbers. So what I did was I made a cheat sheet that you can look at when you're when you go through and you're cutting your shapes. So you can just check it off as you go. All right, so there is the cheat sheet. You need 3-inch, you need 9 3-inch yellow circles, you need 9 3-inch blue circles, you need 3 2-inch, 3 3-inch, and 3 4-inch leaves. Then you need, let's see, you need, this is 3 by 1.5 inch. You need 2 in purple and 2 in orange. And then this is 4.5 inches by 3 inches in orange. You need 2 of those. So that's your list. So pause it when you're making this and just check them off as you go. So you have all your shapes. So now comes the fun part. Now that you've got all your shapes, what you're gonna do is you're gonna draw symbols on them that represent the type of food. Let's take a look at the mobile again. Right, so here are the Earths. You've got them all cut out and drawn the planet. And so on the first one, the all plant diet, you're going to write 6.4 pounds of carbon emissions per person per day. On the plants and just animal products, not the animal themselves, you're going to write 8.4 pounds of carbon emissions per person per day. And on the Eat Everything diet, you're going to write 12.3 pounds per person per day. And then you can see down here, for food, I not only wrote the word, but I wrote these fun symbols for the food. And we're going to talk more about that and how you do it. So next we're going to talk about arguably the most artistic part of this lesson, except for painting the driftwood, which is very artistic, of course, and it's drawing the symbols. Now, a symbol is kind of a shortcut way to relay information to the viewer. It's a way that you can draw something that their mind sees a piece of it or a portion of it or something that represents it without drawing all of it. So it's kind of fun. And colors are important in that too. So I did a symbols page for you with some ideas, but you can get on the internet, Pinterest, and type in cow, type in hamburger, type in cheese, and get ideas about how you might want, what kind of symbol you might want to draw. So here are my ideas for cows. And you can see, sometimes you don't have to draw the whole cow. You can simply draw just the head. This cow doesn't even have eyes. This cow is just a simple circle with some leaf shapes for ears and some horns. And then I did draw a whole hamburger. But if you go over here and look at the chickens, you can see here, I just did a crown and a beak and an eye and his little thing that hangs down to represent a chicken. Here, I did just a C with its beak and the red thing on top and the red thing on the bottom. I can't remember, a comb, I think they're called. So you don't always have to draw the whole thing in detail. Here I have a very simple chicken. Here I have a very simple chicken. And I also, if you want to replace on the Eat Everything diet, if you want to show pork or you want to show fish, I put some symbols for those. I'll move this up. And then here I have milk and cheese ideas and egg ideas. And again, I mentioned that the color is important. I recommend that you sketch these on your rectangle construction paper and pencil first, and then overwrite in black colored pencil and colored pencil, because color is important, because this you definitely know is an Easter egg because I used the colors. This you definitely know is a boiled egg. Now, if I had used different colors, that might look like an avocado, but it looks like an egg because of the colors that I use. So have fun doing symbols for animal products or animals. So lastly, you can write the word like milk and then draw a cow symbol, or chicken and draw a chicken symbol, or you can simply draw the symbol. It's up to you. If you want to draw a bigger symbol and need more space, don't put the word. You don't need it. I put both the word and the symbol just because I'm teaching you, so you can see different ways of doing it. But I can't wait to see the different symbols you come up with for different types of food. All right, so the last step is putting everything together. So what you need to do is cut 3 pieces of string for the 3 different types of diets. And before you cut the string, lay out each of your diet types, and so you can really see how long the string needs to be. So you can see here, I left an overlap at the top so I have room to tie it all the way around my driftwood, and then it goes down through all my different shapes. And I left more at the bottom because you may want to put a weight on the bottom like I did, which was a shell. And I'll talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. So lay out your shapes of all 3 of your vertical diet types, and then measure 3 pieces of string and tie them on across the top. Okay, so let's do that together. I have my driftwood, I have my first string, and I'm going to tie it around one end and knot it once. At least 2 times I'd knot it, if I were you. And then I would take scissors and trim that little piece off right there so it stays tidy. And there I have my first string, and then you do your second one in the middle and your third one over here. And then you want to attach all your shapes. And the way you do that, let's take, you have 2 pieces for your rectangle, so you'd put glue on the inside of each rectangle and then put them together. And for your 3D, your sun, your plants, and your earth, remember you left 1 space open. So what you're going to do is put glue on both sides. I'm going to do that really quick. Then you slip wherever on the string it belongs. I would start with earth at the top and work my way down. But this is the sample I have. And you're going to put the string in the open section, which is right like this. Can you see that? There we go. String in the open section. And then close it. And try to have it centered if you can, as much as possible. Just push it into the center, smash that down, and there you have it. So there's your sun at the bottom. Now, I didn't leave much space here because this piece isn't going to have a weight on it. But on my original example, I did leave space because I wanted to put a weight on the bottom and just add something that's pretty. So I recommend shells. These shells you want to look for, if you're going to go searching for shells, these shells have holes in them, making them easy to tie, you can see. And then I also painted each one with watercolors in coordinating colors, so yellow, green, and blue. Here's a couple other shell ideas. You could also use this shell, so you can see how it has some holes in it, making it easy. And you could use pine cones if you wanted. Natural items I think would look good in the composition because the driftwood is a natural item also. So you could even have 3 different things, 3 different types of shells across the bottom. I did one a while ago that had rocks that actually had holes in them. Sometimes at the beach you can find rocks with holes. So if you want, you can put weights on the bottom of your mobile. Now the last thing is take a piece of string and you want to make a hanging handle. So you tie it all the way around just like I tied my first string on one side, and then you take the other end of the string and you tie it here and you've got your handle. And there you have your fabulous energy transfer food chain mobile. And I can't wait to see what yours look like.